What a tease.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, with every last one of the homies in the house today.
We do have a full house today.
Full barn. All the peeps are in the barn.
All the homies.
All the homies. I am Muff, the person who steers this rudderless ship down the canal, into the waterways, all the way to the mighty, mighty ocean. Joining alongside is the Ohio Homer, the man with a name, the mayor of the Crack House, Jim.
Hello. I don't think I'm the mayor of the crack house because there's a lot of fandom and I don't do them any service on the social medias. I like to think that I am the Midwest Kraken leader because there's not a lot of Kraken fans in the Midwest. So I'm the leader of the Midwest tribe of the Kraken.
Let's put this in a mob mafia situation.
Yeah, I'm the capo of the Midwest.
You're the capo of the Midwest. There we go.
Yeah.
Kraken capo.
Yeah. I'll take that.
We'll go with that. Also joining is the medical degenerate, the guru of all things medicinal, and super Pittsburgh Pirates fan, Alex.
That's me. It's nice to be able to sport my Pittsburgh gear without having to apologize about it.
I don't know. That hat looks kind of brand new, like it's never been worn.
This one?
Yeah, it's fresh.
Looks a little clean.
This one's older than the hat last week that Jim thought I needed a new one of.
I do like that hat though.
Thanks.
There's no shame in Alex's game when it comes
No.
to Pirates fandom.
Been there since day one ish.
Yeah. My pap called me today and was like, what do you think about the Pirates? And I was, talking to him about it. He's like, do you remember when I had Andrew McCutcheon sign that piece of paper? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you still have that? I'm like, yes. Like, yes. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, I wondered if you got rid of it or not when he left. I'm like, nope, didn't do that.
True fan right there.
And lastly, from the household of Harper and Company, the football guru, the officiating guru, the guru who sits in the middle, takes the hits from the linebackers, and keeps on chugging, Nate.
I forgot about you.
Nobody cares about me.
I can only do one at a time. So
Oh,
Nate's
okay.
first.
What you talk
Well, he
about?
did say last but not least, so you're apparently least.
Oh, Lord.
I
And the other member of the Harper household, the guru of all of the glitter, all of the special projects, and
CEO of Harper and Company.
Sam.
That's me.
I think that was a stolen valor situation
Yeah.
there.
I think that's trademark you owe him now.
That's actually from a show, but I can't think about what show it is right now.
It's the Amanda show. It's the Hillbillies one, isn't it? But it's me.
No, it's from something else.
That's
I'll
So
look it up
Raven?
and I'll let you know. Maybe it was That's So Raven.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, maybe you're right. It's one of those
That's-
horror shows.
That's so Sam. And today is Monday, May 1st. And keep chalking up the wins as the Pittsburgh Pirates are still the best team in the National League, currently 20-9, having won 12 of their last 14, and made a very unlikely Pirate move this past week, signing their best player to an 8-year, $106 million
Lord.
extension. Brian Reynolds.
Lord.
Absolutely unheard of in Pirates, the past 20, 30 years of Pirates.
I'm not complaining, that's for damn sure.
No. Nate, did your checkbook get a little bit lighter?
No, but I do have to think of one thing I got in the mail. One of our companies sent out a thing. They're doing like a special where you get a ticket plus loaded value and you get like a shuttle to the game. And of course, they spelled 2 of 5 players' names wrong in the letter.
Was it Ji Hwan Bae?
No, they misspelled O'Neal Cruz, who's out for months,
Good.
and they misspelled Key Brian Hayes.
They put
Those are
two
even like
L's
the
on
harder
the
ones.
No, they misspelled Key Brian. They put Kea Brian.
Okay. What did they do with O'Neal? They put an extra. They put an extra L.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. We can't always be perfect, but we'll take the wins over the misspellings every day of the week. Pirates are now going into a series against the AL's best team, the Tampa Bay Rays, in a preview of this year's World Series. Maybe? Question mark?
Wouldn't that be exciting?
That would be
I don't know.
exciting.
If you would have told me that this would be the two best teams in early May, I would have bet the house on it and said, no way.
Please don't bet my house.
It's not your house.
All right.
Another baseball news. The Padres beat the Giants in the first game in Mexico City. Historical night. What's even more not even hilarious, what's great about this game, it was a 16-11 score. There were a lot of things that went into this, right? 16-11 is a high baseball score. They had 30 hits, 11 home runs, 4 back-to-back home runs. The game was played at over 7,000 feet above sea level, which is, probably helps the whole juiced ball situation. And also in this game, they had the oldest player to ever record a triple since Ichiro, Nelson Cruz, doing so at 42 years old. I didn't watch any of this game, but I wish I was, because I'm sure it was extremely entertaining.
Yeah, it looked like it was completely sold out. I have a feeling they're going to do a lot more of these games.
Good on it.
Yeah, the MLB definitely has opportunities to continue to expand as far as games. It's just more difficult in baseball because they're playing so much every week. It's not like football where it's 1 week and they figure it out. So
yeah, I think this is like game 3 or 4 of the series, and they played the first 3 in San Diego, and then they went down to Mexico City to finish it out.
Yeah. Obviously, this past week in football supremacy, the NFL draft occurred.
Got some stats for you. Got some things we're going to talk about there.
We are going to chat about the NFL draft later when we get into football. One glaring thing that was there was one less person drafted in the first round, thanks to Miami not getting their first pick in the first round this year.
I got punished. Slap on the wrist.
That's one less person who gets a first round contract.
So is
whoever
Mr.
was
Irrelevant truly Mr. Irrelevant then this year?
Well, it's the last pick of the draft. It's not the last. It's not pick. It doesn't necessarily have to be pick whatever it is to something.
I don't know. I think there still needs to be an asterisk. Mr. Irrelevant -1.
Okay.
Also, football. Some quick hitters. The XFL playoffs have started. The Arlington Renegades defeated the Houston Roughnecks 26-11. The DC Defenders defeated the Seattle Sea Dragons 37-21. The championship is May 13th at 8 p.m. on ABC.
So I was just thinking about how in Washington they have the Washington Commanders and the DC Defenders. There's like a trend with the names here. The Commanders, Defenders, Attackers, Arlington Attackers.
ERSs, is that what we're getting at?
Yes.
Okay. Coach Prime in Colorado have had about 35 players enter the transfer portal at this point. This may be more now, I don't know. Fulfilling Sanders' promises on some of those players not being in the room next year, including spring game standout wide receiver Montana Lamonius Craig. Also, there was some social media amongst some of these players that they were not having access to their practice tape to showcase to potential coaches. Is this normal? I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I was going to ask. Is that like a normal thing? Like if you're going to leave a school, they weren't going to give you like their resources, or?
I think this is a big to do over nothing. Like, this is what it is. I think he's very flashy about saying, I'm bringing Louis. Like, but we kind of knew this was how it's going to play out. And while he's shoving kids out the front door, as he said, he's bringing kids in the back. Like, the transfer portal goes both ways.
Yes, and I believe, the add-on to Coach Prime season 1, there was a statement of, or it was an interview, it was a recent interview he mentioned that we've got people coming in, you just don't know who it is yet.
Yeah.
So,
Michigan State's just lost a quarterback and a receiver. I saw Notre Dame's got people going back and forth between Alabama. Like, the college portal is alive and kicking. So Good for him. He gave 35 players a chance to go somewhere else, and other schools are doing the same thing. So
Sure, there'll be more to come on that, and it will be detailed
Was-
in Coach 2 Season Prime.
Was the wide receiver guy, was it seriously primarily because they wouldn't let him be the number that he wanted to be on his uniform or something?
If that was, I think, part of the discussion, I don't know enough about that situation to
yeah, me
say
neither.
If
definitively
that's
on
truly
him.
it, that kid's got a lot more problems.
Yeah, he's not gonna be happy anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a culture thing, right? Maybe he was not bought into
Yeah.
the new culture that was being put in there. And while he showed out in the spring game, he was the number one wide receiver. He had like over 100 yards and a touchdown, I think. He just doesn't want to be there. And he was looking for a better spot to land for him. So,
And it's the spring game. Like, again, I don't want to be a Coach Prime defender, but it's the spring game. Like, you got 100 yards in the spring game. Like, do you think Dion was showing the world everything he had, knowing that he's kicking these guys out to the curb? Like, he showed out. He made a nice, the place was full. He made a good show. It's entertainment. That's what Dion does. The real question for Dion is game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If they're 0-6 and have a losing record and not going to be a contender at halfway through the season, the Dion experiment is a bust. When he has to play real football.
I think that's a bit much to say it's a bust after half of season 1.
No way. I disagree with you, Muff.
I think it's a bit much to say.
So much.
He's literally taking one of the worst programs in college football. If they are 500, I would call this season a success.
No.
So would you consider a success this year, Jim? Because they were 1-10 last year, 1-11,
7-3.
That would be success. Anything that or better. Less than that is not success.
Yeah, 3 losses is all I'm giving him.
What if he goes 6-6 and is bowl eligible?
I think that's a lot. That's a failure.
Yeah, me too.
So he's got to get at least no more than 3 losses. So he's got to win 9 games.
Yep.
This is different than him going to Jackson State, Jim. It's a lot easier to turn that around.
They threw all the resources in the world at him. He's talking about how he's bringing, like, he dug his own grave, made his own bed. He's bringing Louis. He's doing it all. I'm giving him all the grace in the world. All right, man, lose the 35 players to the portal. Talk all that shit. That good for you. Change the culture. They had to wear white socks in the weight room. You got all the cameras around you. You've been in a big old office. You're running with the bull. You're bringing in the old grandma in spring game. Good for you. Build the culture that you say you're going to build. Best not lose more than 3 games.
One win last year. I don't think people were going to turn on him for a 4 or 5 win season.
The Lord spoke to him. He's there to change the culture there. Let's see it happen.
Culture doesn't mean that you win every game.
I said he can lose 3, Muff.
Well, culture doesn't mean that you have to win. You don't have to win 7, 8, 9 games to change the culture. The culture year 1 is changing the culture.
I think if he goes 7-5, it'll be acceptable, but a little disappointing. I think he can lose 4. I think 8-4 or better, he's okay. That's my take.
Okay, we'll see.
Jim and I rarely agree, but I kind of agree with him.
I mean, he's got on the schedule, he's got TCU, Nebraska, Oregon. Then he's got Colorado State, Arizona State, Stanford, Arizona, Oregon State, Washington State. He's got some easy wins there.
Easy wins? Give me the easy win.
Stanford, Oregon State, Washington State, Arizona.
Do they playing at Oregon State? Because that's never an easy win for anybody.
I think
including Oregon. At Oregon State.
I'll give him 4 losses because I think Oregon, TCU, Nebraska, and Utah are tough ones.
You thought he was
only... Nebraska's a tough one.
Well, I don't think that because I think Luke Fickell's a dog.
So you think Luke Fickell's a better coach than Deion Sanders?
Yes.
You realize Luke Fickell's not in Nebraska, right?
Who's in Nebraska?
Oh, what's his name? Matt Rule.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I got it mixed up. Yeah, they got Nebraska.
Former NFL coach, Jim.
Don't care.
Fickell's at Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's going to be tough. Tough.
We'll see. We will see. Jumping onto the ice. Put those skates on for the NHL. First round update. We have Devils and Rangers, Game 7, Monday night in Jersey. Bruins Panthers, Game 7 happening at this moment while we are recording. Live update. What do we have, gents?
It's 2-1 Florida into the second.
Ooh, this could be that 8-1 upset. 8-1 upset. Speaking of 8-1 upsets, the Kraken play the Avalanche Sunday night. By the time you're listening to this, you will know the outcome. Game 7, Sunday night. Jim, what are your thoughts?
Got a lot of fear in my heart. A lot of fear in my heart. The Avalanche seemed to have woken up in Game 6, and a lot of their big boys were playing, and it seemed like the Kraken were not ready to respond. They seemed to get bullied out there in Game 6. So if that holds true for Game 7, I don't have a lot of faith.
Don't have a lot of faith. Your late nights, how have the late nights been treating you?
Sucked. This has been the longest 2 weeks of my life.
Just wait, buddy. If they advance, it's just going to be even later.
No, because they got to go to what? Dallas? It should be a little easier on me. Right?
For at least half of the games.
Right.
How about that hit, Jim?
Man, that was not a good hit. That was not a legal hit. I think the Kraken player should be suspended. He came across the ice. He could have held up. The guy's head was down for a significant amount of time. It wasn't like he looked down. It was like incidental. His head was down, and it wasn't coming up for like count of three. Like you could have put the brakes on a little bit. And it was the same thing that happened in a Kraken game earlier, I think Game 2, where he hit him and then looked for the ref like, oh, I effed up bad there.
Mm-hmm.
The poor Avalanche guy went down, held his face. You thought, well, in real time, you thought, oh, maybe he smashed his face against the glass. And then once you watch the video, we're like, that guy's neck just kind of like accordion. And then he got up, but he kind of held his neck and skated onto the back. And you're just like, oh. And then Nate tells us this morning that he broke his neck. Hockey players are built different.
Another example, hockey players being built different. In other NHL action, these other series have gone to the final in the first round. The Maple Leafs over the Lightning. Toronto advances out of the first round the first time in 19 years.
Super.
Awesome.
That was a good series.
They beat the Boats. Boats
Good
down.
series.
Boats down. The Oilers eliminate the Kings.
Surprising.
I don't think so. But Oilers having arguably one of the better, if not the best player in hockey, you expect them to win at least that first series.
I don't know. The Kings were making a hell of a run towards the end of the season. I kind of thought.
I don't know. You can't count out Connor McDavid until the final buzzer there.
Fair enough.
The Hurricanes eliminate the Islanders. That was expected, correct?
Hurricanes are a good team. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Stars, Dallas Hockey eliminate the Wild.
I can't even watch that. The Wild's jerseys make me sick. They're gross looking.
And the Golden Knights eliminate the Jets.
Don't say anything. Not a fan, Jim.
I know. I'm not gonna say a word.
If the Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup this year, it will be hilarious. In the second round matchups, we have the Oilers taking on the Golden Knights, the Stars taking on the winner of the Kraken Avalanche series, the Maple Leafs taking on the winner of the Bruins Panthers series, and the Canes taking on the winner of the Devils Rangers game.
If the Bruins lose the series, this series 1, I honestly don't know who's going to win the cup. And if the Kraken beat the Avalanche tonight, I think it's anybody's cup.
It's always anybody's cup. That's one thing about hockey, right? You just
typically there's a favorite, right? Like you're like, oh, okay.
Well, the Bruins are the favorite. That's
what I mean.
The best team
tonight. You're like, whoa, shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the Avalanche, the other number one seed. So I mean, this happens more in hockey, I think, than any other sport.
I'm starting to fall in love with hockey. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's good shit. These games need to be earlier, but it's good shit.
Like I said, they're built different.
They are.
I'm sure.
All right, we're gonna do it. It is dun 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 dun. NFL draft. Another news discussion. First, before we get to the draft, Lamar Jackson gets his contracting one-upping Jalen Hurts as he now becomes the highest paid player in NFL history by year, signing a 5-year, $260 million extension with 185 guaranteed. Lamar
Let's
did
see
it.
if there's anything left to help him out.
Lamar did it. What do we feel? How are we feeling about Lamar getting this deal? Is this good for the Ravens?
I mean,
I think it's good the fact that got him under contract. As far as building a team around him, absolutely not.
Okay, wait. I need you to dive into that for a hot second.
Okay.
Because the team will think he quit on them. Is that the route you're going with that?
No, I'm going with the route that you've got a superstar player that thinks he's deserving to be the highest paid, and now you're going to have to cut corners elsewhere. You can't go out and get the best offensive line you probably can get for him. You can't go out and get a receiver. Granted, they go out and get Odell, but it's only a 1-year deal. I mean, how long are they going to be able to sustain success around him with that cap hit?
Right. This is always the thing when you get these huge deals. What
Well, they
money is left?
structured it a certain way.
It is
Right.
structured. Sooner or later, you come to rue the day. There's only 5 years. I think. What is it? There's so many years that you can extend it out. Like in the first year, you can do things with a signing bonus, but sooner or later, kicking the can down the road is what the Patriots always used to do. It comes back to bite you at some point.
you just have to hope you get some young, cheap talent to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gambling a lot.
Yeah, so look at this 5-year deal. Really, if you don't win in the first 2 to 3 years, it's kind of a wasted contract.
I felt from a drafting standpoint, they were kind of all in on the premise of, okay, we spent the money, let's go get the rookies, the offensive line, the receiver from Boston College. Let's kind of angle this towards that. We've invested so much money. They've got the rookie deals to protect him and give him a weapon. And they've kind of built the offense now around him. Okay, we know he's going to run. Let's put two people in front of him. He needs some weapons. Let's get one of those. Let's just see what happens. And if he gets hurt, like he's typically hurt, you got to figure he's got something in his contract that we ain't got to pay him if he blows a wheel.
It's 185 guaranteed. Done. That's
So,
guaranteed. As long as he's on the roster, he gets that money.
you got to figure that's like they probably did the math there. You know, they got some kind of wizard in the back office going, 185 gives us breathing room. So I think it's not a bad situation. It's not an F.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully there's some like performance bonuses in there, and they probably said, like you said, oh well, he's not going to be healthy enough to meet these anyway.
Right.
Now, if he ends up getting every penny of that 260, I think they're definitely screwed.
Yeah, but they're Super Bowl champions at that point, right? So like, do they look screwed at that point if they're champions?
No, not if they got to.
It's a regular season.
These first few years, I mean, like you said, they go out and get these rookies. They're unproven guys in the NFL.
Right.
So you got to hope that they click. But like we said, too, about kicking the can down the road, if you get to year 4, year 5 of this deal and it's all backloaded, that's when you're really having your hands tied.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I don't think it's an F, but
It's not an A, but it's not an F.
I would give it a D+.
Okay.
I don't know if I go that far. I think it's a solid C.
Yeah, I was gonna say a C+, B-, because you still have Lamar Jackson, and he is a proven entity. But like, and I think that sometimes it is one of these smaller rookies that shows out that becomes that guy in these situations because there isn't all the superstars around him. So, I mean, I think there's potential, but I hate the Ravens, so no comment.
In other quarterback news, Aaron Rodgers officially traded to the Jets. The Jets not only get the crystal balls, the crystals, and all the things that Alex talks about that go up different orifices. They get a 2022 pick which is number 15, in which the Jets got Will McDonald, edge rusher, a 5th-round pick next year from the Packers, and the Packers get a 2023 pick. They picked Lucas Van Ness with that pick at number 13, and they also got a 6th-round pick this year, which they got a kicker, and they get a conditional 2nd-round pick that becomes a 1st-round pick next year if Rodgers plays 65% or more of the total plays this upcoming season. You got to imagine they're getting a 1st-round pick.
Yeah.
Unless he gets hurt. So we finally know what the terms were. We knew this was going down. We just didn't know when and what the terms were going to be. We all assumed this was going to happen before the draft, and now we know what went down. So the Packers, in typical Packers fashion, used everything they got from this on nothing to help their current offense. So any other thoughts on Aaron Rodgers to the Jets now that we know the terms?
Not really.
No, I mean, we knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. It's like, all right, let's see if these swaps of picks end up panning out to be anything.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Now that I'm just kind of glad it's done and final. Like we know what's going on.
Bingo. Which brings us
move to the
to the NFL draft, right? This is all leading up to the draft. The draft happened on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Round 1 on Thursday, round 2 and 3 on Friday, rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday. So round 1, we're going to go through the top 10 and then go over some other basic things, and I'm sure there'll be some interjection on other items as we go through. Top 10, we had some shakeup in how all of this went down. The Texans made some big moves, but as expected, the Panthers at number 1 take Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. That was right. That was pretty much locked in. I don't think anybody thought that was going to change. So congratulations, Bryce Young. You are the number 1 overall pick. At number 2, this is where things started to get a little crazy as far as how things went down. Apparently, whenever most sports books closed their bets, Will Levis was the overwhelming favorite to go at number 2. And then the Texans go and take C.J. Stroud, which is who initially had been discussed that was going to go at number 2 all along. So
wait, what? Who? What? Initially, your sentence is what I'm hung up on. You're saying it was talked about initially he was supposed to be going number 2 all along. Yes, I agree with that.
That's what I said.
Okay. I just want to make sure I heard it right.
Yeah. So the pre-hype train is what went through here before all the other things went down. This is what happened. And the Texans go and make a move to trade up to number 3, trading with the Cardinals to take Will Anderson from Alabama. Yeah. So the Texans go all in these top 3. They say, we got our guys, we know what we want, this is what we're getting. But how do we feel about the Texans making that move to go up to get Will Anderson?
I don't have much to lose, so I like it.
I think it sends a great message to their fan base too.
That's what I was about to say. Like, hey, we're not just going to sit back and accept mediocrity. Like, we're going to start making moves to try to make this better. So I agree.
And then it gives off that impression that it's not a total rebuild either.
Right.
That's true. And then we get to pick number 4, where there was a lot of discussion of the Colts going to take a quarterback. Are the Colts going to make any moves? I think the odds on were that the Colts were going to stay there and take a quarterback. The question
was to clarify, where was the discussion? Wasn't on this show. We all said this is going to be a quarterback.
There's always discussion about what is a team going to do with like a top 5 pick. Are they going to
where, Muff?
Listen, I heard it on ESPN. I heard it on different podcasts. There's a lot
First off, I'm going to just, and this will be a running theme through this discussion. If you heard it on ESPN, fuck them. First of all. Second of all, if you heard it on some podcasts, cool. But like, I never understood the reasoning behind the Colts are going to make a move and not do a quarterback. That didn't make any sense to me.
Well, this is why the discussion was there. Is The thing was, if the Colts were able to get a lot of value to the mid to later part of the first round, because the Colts, obviously, we know, end up taking Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida. If the Colts didn't think that anybody else was going to take quarterbacks from picks 4 or 5 all the way through the middle of the first round, and they allow somebody to trade up and get some value out of that pick, we see how things played out. They could have potentially done that because nobody else was picking a quarterback. So that's where the line of thinking came from, is we can pick out of this, move 5, 6, 7 spots down and still get the guy we want.
Okay.
That's where it came to be. But the Colts do take Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida. The Seahawks then take the first defensive back off the board, taking Devin Witherspoon from Illinois.
But the Titans would have made the move. Like, that's what I had heard, was the Titans were flirting with coming way up to grab a quarterback.
Okay.
So the Colts had the gun in their head. Either you make this move for your quarterback you want now, or the Titans are going to come up and get a quarter. Like, the Titans were going to make a jump.
To get who, though?
A quarterback.
That had to have been Anthony Richardson, because the Titans didn't make a move to do anything else, did they?
But at that point, nobody knew. Like, you know what I'm saying? Was the 2 quarterbacks that they knew were going to go 1 and 2 were gone. And 3 and 4, everybody was leaning. And so the Titans kind of put the gun to the Colts' head. Like, if you come out, we're going to go. If you stay, we'll be the ones that sit back and have the quarterback fall in our lap.
Plus, it's a divisional rival, too, so I don't think the Colts wanted to do the Titans any favors by trading
Right.
too far.
That's why I'm like, well, the Colts had to make this move. Like, they didn't have a choice.
They could have traded with somebody else.
And then the Titans would have gotten their pick, would have gotten the quarterback they wanted.
What pick did the Titans have in the first round, Jim?
They would have traded. They would have done some sort of deal to get this.
Okay, well, then the Colts are in the same position as the Titans. Then we'll take whichever one you don't take.
I don't think.
And then the Colts are in the same spot. Like, I don't see between those 2 quarterbacks, whatever. The Colts got who they wanted. So
I think it played out for them, is my point. I think they were just kind of blocked into it. That's my opinion.
Got it. Then the Cardinals, from a trade with the Lions, take Paris Johnson, tackle from Ohio State, the first offensive lineman to come off the board. The Raiders then take D-end Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. The Falcons take the first running back off the board. This is the quickest a running back come off the board in a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
A top 10, taking Bijan Robinson from Texas. The Eagles take Georgia D tackle Jalen Carter, which just shows that Georgia is now the Eagles' minor league squad.
Oh, it just kept going. That was like the first of 3.
Yeah.
3 picks to go there.
Eagles did.
Yeah.
Eagles are just saying, "Oh, here's a national champion. Just start taking all of them."
Yeah, just give me
Yeah,
all.
they're turning into the Philadelphia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the 10th pick, the Bears take offensive tackle Darnell Wright from Tennessee, who is a native of, Nate?
Huntington, West Virginia.
Did not know that. So that was the top 10. Obviously, the quarterbacks were the biggest thing. The other big question was where was Will Anderson going to fall? Who was going to take him? They knew everyone was saying he was the best defensive player on the board. Some were saying he was the best player overall on the board. But where was he going to end up falling? Not falling, but where was he going to end up? So we got that. Any other thoughts on the top 10? Before we get into some people that fell outside of the top 10.
Not really.
I think Jim had mentioned it before that I think Paris Johnson was still kind of a surprise to people to go that early.
I was surprised.
He was, I mean, Skoronski was rated the top offensive lineman by a lot of places that I saw. So, I mean, I think it was a slight surprise that he was the first offensive lineman off the board.
As an Ohio State guy, nothing screamed he should go that high. But whatever.
At least he can keep all of his red workout clothes.
Yeah.
There you go. So, things that happened outside of the top 10 or other things that went down. We'll start with the big one. That was Will Levis falling out, not just out of the top 10, not just out of the top 15 or 20, but falling out entirely of the first round and having to sit in the green room on draft night.
I loved every part of that.
Why is that, Jim?
Just his face was just awful. His misery was my joy, and I know I shouldn't say that, but it was.
So, Will
He just
Levis
came off so cocky, though.
Yep.
And this was part of it, right? I mean, I think his PR team should be getting some type of gold medal for the work they did up until draft night,
Sure.
because they had everyone thinking that he was going to be going.
Well, yeah, because he made the whole to do about how he wasn't going to go if he thought he wasn't going to get drafted in the first round and
Yeah.
all that. And I'm like, oof, oof.
And here we are.
Yeah.
But now that things are over, maybe his PR team needs to be reevaluated, and he needs to also make sure that his girlfriend is PR represented, because I think she got just as much coverage as he did.
Well, which girlfriend?
After. Well, the other one was the other two were his sisters, I believe, Jim.
No, I think I saw somewhere that said he had like 27 more instances of screen time on ESPN than any other player in the green room that night.
Well, because
I mean,
they all
granted-
got drafted.
Well, no, not all of them. I guess there was like 4 of them, including him, that were in the green room at the end of the first round that were invited.
Mhm.
3 out of the 4 did not come back, but one of them did, and he got drafted like maybe 10 picks in the second round.
That's pretty interesting. I did not know that there were that many others. He was just the one that was getting all the screen time.
I did see the guy that came back. I thought that was classy.
Yeah, I did too. I can't remember who it was, and he wasn't in like a suit or anything, because that's what some people were saying. They go, "Oh, you only packed one suit." But I think the other guy was basically in street clothes, but it wasn't like t-shirts and jeans. But
Yeah. He was
I should remember.
classy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that shows a lot of guts and a lot of pride for that guy to stick around.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already there.
Yeah, why not?
What's it hurt to stick around for another day? A lot of thought now. What is this? I mean, this was already in talks, but have the Titans given up on Malik Willis? I mean, we know Ryan Tannehill's there, and this is obviously a step towards. They were already moving a step towards moving on from Ryan Tannehill with Malik Willis being drafted last year. But what does this mean for Malik Willis now?
I think for Malik Willis now, you better get a hold of your agent and say, "Hey, what the hell are we going to do here?"
Yeah. I mean, who do you think's the better court? Like, do you think this is more bad for Malik Willis or for Will Levis? Like, you're going somewhere that has a guy and you're a guy with someone else. They just picked up someone else to come in.
I think this is worse for Malik Willis, because this was you last year. You were picked late first round or second round, I don't remember. And they basically have already given up on you because they took a guy that everybody's going to say, "Oh, he might be a top 5 pick."
Yeah.
So I think if you're Malik Willis, you got to be shitting yourself thinking, this was me last year, and you go out and get another quarterback who slept out of the first round. That doesn't look good on you.
No, I agree.
No, it does not. Also, outside the top 10, we had Jahmyr Gibbs, the second running back coming off the board, going to Detroit Lions. And then later, the Lions trade DeAndre Swift, running back, to Philadelphia.
Running back from
Georgia.
Georgia's gonna Philly's making a run. I mean, somebody laid that early prop money for them to win the Super Bowl because they are loaded.
Yeah, they're doing the right things to get there.
And this poor kid
that's
going
like
to
what?
Detroit.
Including Swift now. I mean, I think before that, they have like 5 or 6 Georgia national champions on their defense now.
Just relocate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kirby. Appreciate your duty. Next, we have Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State, wide receiver, going to the Seahawks.
Alex, how you feel about that?
I mean, he's going to have a great quarterback to throw the ball to. So, I mean, if he succeeds, it's clearly based on the quarterback. But
Does
yeah,
that make you feel good? He's got another weapon out there.
yeah,
Okay.
not gonna let him do it to me. Peace and calm.
Just want to be sure.
I'm Wuso over here,
Okay.
centered like a
Next,
boot on a lily pad.
Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC, going to Minnesota, obviously in a move to replace Adam Thielen, who is no longer with Minnesota. So
I automatically hate this guy.
because he's brought in to replace Adam Thielen.
Yep. I dislike this guy.
And that's not really fair, but okay.
I don't care. Don't like him.
Here's interesting. If Jordan Addison was his stock higher or lower than last year? Because remember, Jordan Addison was being thrown to by Kenny Pickett and had a high value, and he went to USC hopefully to elevate his stock this year. Did he elevate, or did he just kind of stay or go down?
I think he just kind of plateaued.
Yeah, because it wasn't like, and again, we're on the East Coast, so we didn't necessarily get to watch a lot of USC games, but he wasn't blowing it up out there either.
Yeah, I don't know. I know nothing.
Okay. Stetson Bennett did not go to the Eagles. He went to the Rams. What pick was this? I don't even remember what pick this was.
It was late.
It was like fourth or fifth round.
Okay. I assumed it was going to be later. I just didn't know where. And then Deuce Vaughn, running back, Kansas State, goes to the Cowboys in a feel-good moment as his dad is a scout for the team. And there was an emotional video that was shown of the Cowboys draft room when this happened.
You know what? I'm gonna be that guy on the porch, or I'm gonna be that dickhead. How is that a feel-good moment? That's just nepotism in Dallas. That's just what it is. It's the same
I
shit.
thought that first, Jim, but they even said when they drafted him, anytime it came to any sort of like evaluation on him or his name got brought up, his dad distanced himself from it. Like he did nothing with it. He didn't talk to anybody about it. He's just the one that made the call. Now it's Dallas, so can you believe that? I don't know.
Right.
But still, it's pretty neat to say, or like Muff said, the video's out there. The dad calls. He goes, "Hey, my phone's not working or whatever, but how would you like to come to work with me on Monday?"
Yeah, it was a cool video. But I mean, Jerry's sitting next to his son currently as they're running the team. It's kind of just what they do.
Family affair.
Yeah.
Family affair in Dallas. Other notable picks for the teams that we follow, the teams of note. We'll start with the Steelers real quick. The Steelers take tackle from Georgia, offensive tackle from Georgia, Broderick Jones. In the second round, the Steelers took Joey Porter Jr., quarterback from Penn State. The Steelers also took Georgia tight end Darnell Washington to kind of that's going to be an interesting tandem, I think, with Freiermuth and Washington figuring it out. This is kind of like a Patriots type of move in my mind. Like
I see Washington more of like a short, like distance goal line tight end. I mean, he's what, like 6'7", 260?
He's huge. And Freiermuth also tall, but definitely not that big.
Mm-hmm.
So
Does
I
it
think
really
it's
matter with your offensive coordinator?
I don't know. I mean, I think at that point it doesn't matter. He's 6'7". Throw the ball up to him on a fade.
Your offensive coordinator will botch the whole thing. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that's good. But what happened to the Chargers offense in the offseason, Jim? You keep hold anybody?
No.
That's what I thought. And lastly, notable picks for the Steelers. They take Wisconsin linebacker, edge rusher, I guess in this case, Nick Herbig, to join TJ Watt as another former Badger with the Steelers.
I think I saw too, back to the family affair thing, that Herbig's brother signed there as a free agent.
Oh, so Watt's the Haywards.
The Watts, the Haywards,
Porters.
The Herbigs. Well, Porter isn't on the team right now, as far as like a player.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It used to be the Edmond brothers too, right?
Yeah, the Edmonds were there at one point. This is what the Steelers do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Steelers do, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a family affair.
Could be. Could be.
Are you saying that's different because it's like two players that are related versus?
I'm okay with it because it's not management. So
That's what I mean. Yeah.
All right, Jim, talk about the Chargers. What the Chargers do?
they got Quentin Johnson, a wide receiver from TCU.
Oh, from TCU.
They also
They
got
brought a wide receiver in from TCU, Jim.
They also got another. They got Darius Davius, wide receiver from TCU, and
Yeah.
then they got Max Duggan from TCU.
Huh.
Yeah. TCU the sequel.
The LA
I'm
Hornets.
okay with it. I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it.
Really
You're
don't
okay
know
with them getting TCU.
why we got Max
players.
Duggan. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe a great backup, I suppose. But
Grade bait a couple years.
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with all of these TCU players, Jim. After you bashed the Big 12 so hard,
Yeah, why not?
why not? He says. Oh,
And then
If we-
Jordan
if-
McFadden from Clemson. That's a good get. I'll take
Good.
that.
okay.
So, right on.
You're okay with it?
Why not?
I mean, Sean Clifford did get drafted before Max Duggan, which I thought was hilarious.
How about that setup that he had?
Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford, for those who are not aware.
That's your boy at Green Bay. I think that
He's-
should be your new. You should stand over Sean Clifford now.
I don't think Sean Clifford's in any way fighting for a starting gig at the moment.
That's your boy.
But I think it was interesting that he was drafted before Max Duggan, and Penn State actually produced 2 drafted quarterbacks in this one. Because Will Levis, this is what's hilarious to me, right? Will Levis goes to Kentucky, has an okay thing. Penn State let Will Levis go to Kentucky because they said Sean Clifford's our guy. To be fair, Sean Clifford did not play terribly after they let Will Levis go, and Will Levis didn't necessarily show out as a quarterback in the way of they weren't going to the national championship, but it's like a Penn State thing to do, kind of like Ohio State with Joe Burrow, except for not to the level.
Except not. Okay, Mike.
Well, it's similar, right? That they let go.
No,
of
it's
a
not.
quarter-
There was a national title involved.
I'm talking about a draft prospect from a draft prospect perspective.
Oh, okay.
They let go of a round 1 graded prospect. Whatever. So
It's a stretch. We're gonna let you live with it.
anyway, Nate, how about the Bucks?
So the Bucks' first round pick, they go out and get. I'm going to butcher this first name, Kalaji. Can't see defensive tackle from Pitt.
Second coming of Aaron Donald.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that's what
Elijah.
I'm saying. I mean, he's very athletic, but I think he might just be a little bit undersized just from the highlights they showed.
Mm-hmm.
And then their second round pick, they go and get Cody Monch, offensive tackle from North Dakota State. So the first thing they show with him, obviously, was like, oh, he was the guy that came to North Dakota State as a tight end and weighed like $185. And they move him to offensive line. He adds like 75 pounds. And he looks like he could be the son of Ryan Jensen. So now they've got 2 long hair, redheaded linemen down there in Tampa Bay.
Jim.
Good for
And
them.
then later on, they took a corner from Kansas State. And then the only other guy that I can remember right now was Trey Palmer, a receiver from, I think it was Nebraska maybe, because he ran like a 4.33. So I don't know if he would try to be a guy to stretch the defense or whatever, because they got quite a few spots to fill. But I was kind of hoping they do a little bit more with the O-line there. And then I saw today they went out and signed Kurt Warner's son as an undrafted free agent.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. This is where a lot of things happen after the draft, right? You have the releasing of players, you have the signings of players, you have all these things that happen in coordination with the draft to get you to that number. And that's when I think a lot of real dreams are made. There's guys that were undrafted who may not even thought they had the opportunity to play on a team or were on the fringe to get these undrafted free agent deals. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it's going to go this year, because it's really the first off season with. I mean, I haven't watched any USFL to see if any of those guys are worthy, but some of these XFL guys, I'm sure are going to get signed. I mean, like, what was it last year, 2 years ago? You had PJ Walker, who's like the XFL MVP, signed with Carolina. So curious to see if any of these XFL guys get second, first chance, however many chances they're on now.
Yeah, depending on what's going on. So according to Chad Reuter at NFL.com, these are the draft grades of our teams. The Steelers and Bucks both were given an A by him, and the Chargers are given a B-. So these are all obviously knee-jerk reactions, and we won't know for 2, 3, 4 years what really comes of these draft classes. But for now, it's interesting to look at them and try to make sense of what will happen.
Yeah,
think they're reasonable.
They're reasonable. All right. Other interesting news that I didn't know until Adam Schefter broke this. I think it was on a draft day. Is that the Eagles and Cardinals settled a tampering investigation related to the hiring of now Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon. Pew 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 pew. Shots, explosives. Terms of this settlement were that the Eagles traded 2023 pick 94, which ended up being Stanford wide receiver Michael Wilson, and a 2024 fifth-round pick to the Cardinals for 2023 pick number 66, Illinois DB Sidney Brown.
I don't think I knew that was that there was tampering issues.
Exactly. This was like swept under the rug. So the Cardinals
handle this like men off to the side.
Right. We're just we'll talk. We're gonna figure this out. And this was what they did. So I thought it was that was interesting to me that I saw that. It was a Schefter. It wasn't like it was swept under the rug. It was a Schefter break. So they didn't they didn't pitch it to, the second or third person on the totem pole there. They made it Shefty. So that was just interesting to me. Jim has a breakdown, I think, here of some draft things.
So I got pissed off during the draft because ESPN, in their infinite wisdom, wanted to tout the greatness, not of Georgia, not of Ohio State, not of Penn State, but they kept saying in the first round how great Alabama was. Okay. The school with the most picks of the first round was tied. Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State each had 3. You want to look at it from a divisional sense or a conference sense, the SEC had 10, the Big 10 had 8, the Big 12 had 6, Pac-12 had 3, ACC had 4. Round 2, the SEC had 8, the Big 10 had 11, the Big 12 had 3, Pac-12 had 3, ACC had 3, independent schools had 3, and the FCS had 1. The most schools in round 2, the school with the most picks, the Penn State Nittany Lions had 3 picks. Okay? But Alabama was dominant in the draft in the first 2 rounds. Not true. Okay?
The SEC was the most dominant in the first round.
And not over the first 2, because we beat them by 1. Then if you want to go by who had the most picks overall in the draft, Bama had 10. Georgia also had 10. Ohio State had 8. Penn State had 7. And for you, Alex, WVU had 1.
Yep, Dante Still, 6 rounds.
Way to show out, Mike. Way to show out. Glad you made an appearance. Good for you. But I don't understand, they're Alabama. They didn't dominate anything. The story of the whole draft was how Georgia's now in Philly.
That was the big story.
But they want to talk about how Bama's the dominant in the draft. No, they weren't this year. They weren't at all. It made me very upset.
I was very upset.
I will say I thought WV would have 2. I thought Bryce Ford Wheaton would go somewhere.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me because I saw he had a real big week down at the Senior Bowl, and then realizing how big he is, he's like 6'4", 220. I definitely thought someone would just take a shot on him late, but
he'll make somewhere as an undrafted free agent. Still,
he did already. He signed with the Giants.
Did he officially sign? Okay,
I believe I saw he did sign. I mean, he even tweeted out an emoji of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
ESPN's a bunch of Bama homers. So fuck you, ESPN.
So you're watching ESPN. Well, I guess. So how did everybody consume the draft if you got a chance to watch any of it?
So I had on ESPN for the most part, and then I think I had McAfee on for the first 5 to 10 picks or so.
Okay. Jim, did you?
I watched the first 10 on ESPN, and then I had Pat on for picks 10 to 15. He's hard if you're a YouTube TV subscriber. He's hard to watch and keep up because he's like a pick ahead of YouTube TV.
Oh no, they were tipping picks, Jim. They were taking
No. He was literally time wise. He was talking about things he was seeing on the TV that looked like he was ahead of me. I know he was tipping picks.
Yeah, because I think early on they even said that they're not going to wait for the TV. They're going to use Twitter and see all the different writers.
Yeah, and that was cool. I
Or the-
like that. But he was saying what Mel Kiper's on the TV right now, and it wasn't Mad Mel. It was actually real Mel. And like Mel was not on my television for some time, and I was like, this is just pissing me off.
Okay.
No, I prefer Mad Mel over Mel.
Yeah, me
I
too.
agree. Alex, how'd you watch?
I watched just the ESPN coverage. I watched like the first round up through Steelers' first pick. And then after that, I did a lot of like phone checking and stuff, but
Yeah.
I worked and then I had some other stuff going on. So I really didn't get a lot of time. But if I was watching it, it was usually out somewhere. So I was just watching the ESPN coverage.
I exclusively watched Pat McAfee on the first night, just because I am not a fan of watching all the highlights. I want to hear more of like the commentary on that, which there's commentary around the highlights, but it's interesting to hear because they had a collection, right? A collection of different positions, different people, different backgrounds, and stuff like that. So it was cool to hear each of their thoughts on it. They're also just very interesting throughout there. Later on, they had like performances. They had Red Panda
Yeah, I saw that.
on the cups and everything. They had a magician. It was
Yeah.
it was a show, right? It was fun, and I did enjoy a lot of the discussion beforehand about like finding the tipped picks, and then really just following it blind and be like, oh, I hope we're right here. We're gonna talk about it. If we're wrong, oh well. It's not like we're ESPN and we have to be right on this. So interesting stuff. So I enjoyed that. And Mad Mel is maybe the best thing on television. If you did, if you did not, if you want to get any type of interesting discussion with Mad Mel Kiper, who's one of Pat McAfee's guys that just plays him, watch the JJ Watt interview that
I
they did.
watched that
because that was hilarious.
That was really good.
JJ Watt just talking about how he's like, yeah, not gonna lie, guys, I just got off the golf course, so I have no idea what's going on, but sure, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah.
I think it just takes like a glimpse of like what a football player goes through in their retirement and like what football players go through on draft day, because current players, what do they, I mean, they care to an extent, right? Because they're new teammates, but they're not like harping on it. More to life than football for them, especially in the off season.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on the draft?
Not really.
Where's the draft next year?
What is it? It's rotating. It keeps rotating. I forget where the next spot is. They got to go back to Tennessee, Nashville sometime soon, I hope. That was pretty cool.
That was a cool one.
I'm sure it's already, is it already been announced?
I'm sure. Speaking of NFL announcements, I think I saw today they're anticipating the league schedule reveal on May 11th.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Detroit.
Detroit.
No.
Let's
Oh, yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait.
Plaza in
Let's go
Detroit
to
next year,
that.
April 25th through 27th.
Let's go to that.
Campus Martius Park.
Nothing says we're gonna get shot up like going to Detroit.
Wow, Jim, not a fan, huh?
So loyal listeners from Detroit send Jim all the hate.
Yeah, all the hate, all of the hate. They just went to like the Midwest mob capital of the world, Jim, Kansas City.
Still can't be as bad as Detroit.
Yikes! Yikes! Maybe Detroit's gonna have a championship this next year to go into. Oh, other thoughts in the NFL football overall. The USFL has started. The Pittsburgh Marauders got their first win.
Hey, there you go.
I still think they got the best kicker name in football right now.
They have who they have.
Blewett.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. And Blewett set a USFL record with 5 field goals in one game. He did not blow it this week.
Good job, Blewett, for not blewetting.
Nope. When he was at Pitt, University of Pittsburgh, it was hilarious because he missed a kick to win a game once.
And Blewett.
They capitalized on that one very much. All right, in NBA action, we have some. The first round is over. Getting to the second round. In second round action, we have the Nuggets and Heat both up 1-0. The Heat, right? We're a play-in team. Taking out a number 1 seed, which is hilarious. This doesn't happen as much in basketball. Both of the play-in teams on both the Eastern and Western side advanced through the first round. LeBron.
That's
proving
why we play the game.
right? That is why we play the game. And then in the other second round matchups, quarterfinal matchups, we have the Lakers playing the Warriors and the 76ers playing the Celtics.
ESPN is just going to gobble up Lakers and Warriors.
Yeah.
Which they should. Jimmy Butler with Miami Heat just put on a show in the last few games of that series. He scored, what was it, 70 the one game? Or sorry, it was 50. It was 50 some. He's like the third highest scoring performance in playoff history.
He had 25 in this game against the Knicks.
Yeah. Steph put up 50 in Game 7 against the Kings. They said that was the highest score in Game 7.
Okay. Yeah. I think all of the games, the highest scoring games, are all in the 50s. Butler, I forget. Can we look that up? How many Butler had? I think it was 54, 55, 56, somewhere in that range. But there was not any other discussion, right? LeBron James gets the ultimate triumph over Dylan Brooks. And Dylan Brooks was just a whiny baby after all of this. He neglected all of his media responsibilities. Even after Game 7, just deuced it or just said, I'm out, didn't do anything. So Dylan Brooks, ultimate whiner baby after losing to the Lakers in that first round series.
He had 56 points.
Okay, 56. And then he followed up with like a 35-point performance the next night.
It was 56 followed by 42.
Ooh. And then I think another 30.
30. He had 30 the game before the 56. 25, 30, 56, 42. 35. So he was over 30 or more in every one of the games. And I take that back. He had the 25 on their one loss.
Okay. Who do we see in the finals out of the 4 teams that are left from each side?
I don't know enough about basketball, but I'm going to say Warriors Celtics.
Okay. Jim?
The Lakers.
And?
The Lakers.
So the Heat, Knicks, 76ers, Celtics, Jim. Who's coming out of that end?
Knicks.
76ers have looked good. Knicks would have been probably my last take.
Yeah. Alex?
I'm between the Warriors and the Lakers. I think whoever wins that series. I'm going to wild card and say 76ers.
All right. I'm going to go Suns Celtics. It's going to be my matchup. All right. Jumping out of the NBA and getting to some other interesting sports news.
Do you guys want an update on the hockey game?
Yes, please, Alex.
The Boston Bruins are up 3-2 on the Florida Panthers with 1 minute and 28 seconds remaining in the third period.
Ooh.
There you go.
Oh, holy shit. Florida scored.
Panthers just scored?
Yeah, it's 3-3 with a minute.
Yes, they did. 59 seconds to go in the third. We got a tie game.
Wow.
Told you. Told you.
They were like, what was that? Jim's getting close to being done on time to watch the game.
Yep, Jim. Sorry, buddy.
Now, interesting point of this game that I didn't know until it started is this goalie for Boston has not started a game until Game 7 in this series.
He's their number one, I think, and he's been hurt.
Yeah, he's like they said they're like 1A, 1B, but this is the 1B that's starting.
Okay. Oh, Jim, get ready for another late night. They'll probably drop the puck still. You'll be able to watch it.
On the
True TV or some shit.
Network, yeah.
True TV. Okay, another interesting news from sports. Melanie Barcenas of the San Diego Wave makes women's soccer league history, becoming the youngest player ever at age 15.
That's pretty badass.
That's pretty cool. Hopefully this isn't like a Freddie Adu moment and she disappears into nothingness. Hopefully this is a good thing for her. I mean, it's good. It's a good thing that we'll get eyes on the sport. I don't dislike that.
So since she played in a professional game, though, is she eligible to play when she gets to high school? If she's in high school?
At 15, she's in high school. But I don't know. I think I'd rather play professional than for my high school team, probably.
She could. So here's like I think I liken this to golf. Like you can play professionally, you just can't get paid. So if she's getting paid, then she probably is forfeiting a lot of things. If she's not getting paid, then she's just taking advantage of the opportunity.
Officially in overtime.
Officially overtime. So that's my thought, Nate. I don't know. Do you think differently?
I mean, I'm just looking at it just because I do the high school officiating stuff. I just don't know how these organizations, I mean, obviously in California, we have no idea. Like, yeah, I understand the whole getting paid thing, but it's like, okay, what other kickbacks is she getting? Like, is she getting the free merch? I mean, is the NIL thing out there for high school athletes in California?
Yeah. Well, I would imagine if she's playing this early in profession, she might not be worried about going to college as far as soccer.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're getting the opportunity to play professionally at age 15, you're probably not as concerned about what college you're going to go to. But she may be forfeiting a lot of opportunities to get money through NIL, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, another women's sports discussion: the Texas women 4x100 team breaks the NCAA record with a 42.00 time in the 4x1.
Yeah, I watched that video. It wasn't even close to the next team behind them.
Those are all 10-5 100-meter dashes. 10-5, Jim.
It's fast.
That's really fast. In other NBA news, Atlanta double booked Game 6 last week with the Janet Jackson concert. The concert was then moved to the next night.
Not a lot of faith in your team.
That was something. I'm not sure who made that snafu, but I'm sure there's something coming down for that person. In other college news, Haley Van Lith is transferring to LSU from Louisville to join up with Angel Reese, aka the Bayou Barbie, in an ultimate NIL tag team opportunity, and probably a really good great basketball situation as well. Haley Van Lith was Louisville star.
Cool.
Just NIL doing NIL things.
Mm-hmm. And Kim Mullaney taking advantage of the opportunity to capitalize.
Oh, absolutely.
She's an NIL deal in herself.
Thank you. I was going to say the same thing.
Who, Kim Mullaney?
Yeah.
Her personality. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying she in and of herself is a character in this realm.
And lastly, another interesting news from the sports world. Nate, take it away.
So I saw this, and of course, it's just the guy can never keep his name out of the Twitter sphere anywhere. So Antonio Brown, shocker, Antonio Brown,
say no more,
tweets out a picture of him in a Ravens jersey. It says, quote, excited to return to the NFL this year. Hashtag Ravens flock, end quote.
Ravens flop?
Ravens flock.
That's their hashtag.
Flock. Yeah,
I like hashtag Let's Go Bucks. It's hashtag Ravens flock.
Gotcha. I intentionally tried to avoid Ravens.
The Ravens clearly didn't agree because they did not also announce this news. So is Antonio up to his shenanigans again? Is he dropping news that has yet to been dropped officially?
I think he's probably high.
Probably.
Antonio's just finding ways to stay relevant.
Hey, I got some news.
Bring it on.
The Big Ten has announced their commissioner. Robert.
Kraft?
What's this boy's first name?
Oh, Robin Tug.
Bobby?
Tony.
Robert Tony.
That's not even close to Robert.
Tony Petitti.
Petitti?
Yep. Can you spell that name?
Petitti.
I thought for sure it was going to be P-A.
It's probably Petitti.
It's probably Petitti. Okay. His major first off, he used to work for Activision Blizzard video games. He spent 12 years in Major Baseball, where he helped organize the digital and MLB network. His main priorities. Okay. Integrating the Big Ten members USC and UCLA in 2024.
I'm glad that's a priority.
Right. Participating in the college football playoff expansion process and the next media rights agreement.
Okay.
Name, image, and likeness legislative matters. And completing the and executing the Big Ten 7-year, $7 billion media rights deal with Fox, CBS, and NBC. So they brought this guy in to basically manage the high level shit.
Well, that's what a commissioner's supposed to do.
Right. I'm cool with that because he has experience. The real question is, will he be as big a fuck up as Kevin?
Wait. You just said he has experience. What experience does he have, Jim?
Well, he managed the MLB's digital content and created creation of the MLB network.
Okay.
So
you
he's
said he
got
was with
connections,
Activision. That's why I was curious.
and he also was with Activision. So we might get a Big Ten video game out of the deal. I don't know, but he has experience with networks.
Big Ten 2025. Only Big Ten teams.
Right.
Right. What if we got instead of NCAA college football, we get the Big Ten college football game?
And then you can only the creative coach. You put khakis on him.
Only put it in a sweater vest if you go into like vintage mode.
Right. So yeah, Petitti is now our Big Ten commissioner.
That will be his name, even if it's not how you pronounce it.
Petitti.
All right. Any other sports news, gents? Sam, what are your thoughts? Did you watch the draft?
I did watch the draft, and I do have a couple.
Oh, I was waiting on this one.
I totally glanced over this when we were talking about the draft. So state your intentions.
So I just have a couple outfits that bothered me a little bit.
Okay.
First, did you like any outfits? Let's start with that.
There's a lot of white.
Yeah, there was a lot of white, and I know it's after Labor
She really
Day.
wasn't even really paying attention to it until we got to about midway through the top 10, and I said, "Hey, you've been paying attention to any of the suits?"
So I was cleaning my craft cart because Nate kept yelling at me that it was too messy. So I was a little distracted. However, I have 3 on my list that made me go WTF.
Okay.
So first we'll save that one for last. Christian Gonzalez, the satin white suit.
Yeah, it was weird, right?
Sounds uncomfortable.
That can't be comfy to hang out in. So no. Bijan Robinson, the snakeskin suit.
Also looked uncomfortable.
And he kept saying the hat was too small. I think his hair was just too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But
He needed one of those big hats that the MLB guys have.
He's from Texas, right?
he
He should,
needed
he should be able to get the
10-gallon.
10-gallon hat.
I just don't know where they get the idea that they look good. Like, who's styling them? Because
I think I see a new future career path for you.
I think so.
Harper
And
and
last
Co.
but not-
draft outfits.
Tyree Wilson. I
Okay.
named this one. I gave it a whole theme for itself. He can buy himself flowers. It was floral.
I did see the floral suit.
It was floral. It had a whole floral pattern. Miley Cyrus is jealous, I am sure, that he's buying himself flowers.
For what you would expect when you think of someone wearing a full-blown floral suit, it wasn't the worst. It kind of looked a little bit like a grandma couch.
It was good because it was black and the flowers weren't in your face.
Yeah.
But imagine if you would have mixed the satin white suit with the flowers.
That would have been a lot.
That's
Mm-mm.
So you didn't like anything?
I mean, the ones that were dressed normally, in a normal black or tan suit, that was good. Once again, I don't know what's up with the pants that are above the ankle.
It
It's
is
trendy.
stylish.
It's
It is-
stylish.
It's a Euro style.
I don't know
Here's
if they
the
thought
thing.
that giant fountain in the middle of everything was gonna flood and they needed to have their pants up high. I'm not.
Maybe
real
you're
sure.
just not in with the trends, man.
I can't get behind that.
Maybe
Just
you're just out of
also-
whack.
Behind the guys wearing these short little shorts now that are the hottie hot shorts for guys. No, thank you.
Hey, you know what? Don't mess with my short shorts.
Do you wear the 5-inch shorts?
I do.
I
Oh,
think that's a
man.
lie. I want to see this picture so we can show the world.
I'm gonna need to see this.
All right, Muff, take us home.
That was the same have other. Is there
I
more?
don't have.
Oh, okay. So we're not a fan. We're not a fan of non-traditional suits.
No.
We're not a fan of the high, the joggers to suit translation.
Yeah.
Is that what we're gonna call that, or just the high, the
It's in the
fun?
jogger. It's like they're straight cut pants and they're just like right above the ankle.
Okay, there we go.
Not-
There's Sam's thoughts on draft dress day.
Yep.
All right. As always, you can follow us at Sports Gym Muff on Instagram and Twitter, sportstuffw.com/Jim Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
Do a little jig.
Make sure that you get us on all of our platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Do all of the things. Share it with your friends. Because for this rocket ship to continue on its path to go to the moon, past the moon, to the next planet, to the other planet's moons, to the rings, all the way, boop, 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 up and away, you have to tell a friend, make a friend, be
Uh,
friend.